The crowd outside Buckingham Palace buzzed with excitement. Reporters jostled for position. Tourists held up phones, and camera flashes lit up the London dusk. After 3 long years away from the royal family, Prince Harry had returned to the UK without fanfare, and yet his silent arrival made more noise than any public statement ever could. The palace confirmed nothing. No family members greeted him. No official events were scheduled. It was as if he had slipped into the heart of the monarchy like a shadow. Inside the palace walls, tension simmered beneath the polished marble and regal chandeliers. Commander Edward Stone, a veteran royal guard known for his discipline and loyalty, had spent a lifetime protecting the crown, and something about Harry's return didn't sit right with him. The prince walked the halls like a stranger, familiar yet distant. No warmth in his eyes, no interest in tradition, just purpose. And Edward felt it in his bones. Something was wrong. Late one evening, Edward noticed Harry leaving his private quarters dressed in civilian clothes, looking over his shoulder before stepping into a lesser-used corridor. Curious, Edward followed discreetly, using servant tunnels known only to senior guards. What he saw next left him cold. At the rear exit of the palace, half shrouded in shadows, Prince Harry met with a foreign journalist, someone Edward recognized from previous security reports. Their conversation was hushed, their exchange swift. Harry handed over a small black USB drive. The journalist nodded and tucked it away without a word into the night. Alarmed, Edward went straight to the internal surveillance room. Calling in a favor from an old technician, he pulled the security footage and ran facial recognition. There it was, a clear shot of Prince Harry passing classified material to someone flagged in multiple intelligence circles. The breach was undeniable. Edward inserted the USB footage into a secured laptop and began reviewing the files. Within minutes, his worst fears were confirmed. There were royal correspondences, internal letters from senior royals discussing national security, documents marked for Crown eyes only, secret military travel schedules, confidential medical records, and even voice memos from Queen Elizabeth herself. But what truly turned Edward's blood cold was a signed agreement. Prince Harry had entered into a private deal with a major Hollywood studio to create a dramatized series exposing the hidden truths of the monarchy, using real classified material as the foundation. The payout? £30 million. Edward sat in stunned silence, the weight of betrayal crushing down on him. This wasn't rebellion. This wasn't transparency. This was a calculated attack on the very institution Edward had sworn to protect, and it was being orchestrated by the man he once guarded with pride, a prince turned profiteer. He knew reporting it would come at a cost. He knew the palace would try to bury it. But one thought kept ringing in his head. If I stay silent, I betray everything I have stood for. The next morning, Edward Stone stood in full uniform outside the Royal Security Office, the weight of what he had discovered pressing heavily on his shoulders. He had barely slept. His thoughts were tangled in duty, betrayal, and danger. With a trembling hand, he submitted the evidence, printed stills from the security footage, a summary of the USB contents, and a signed report detailing Prince Harry's actions. He believed the monarchy would act swiftly. He believed the truth would matter. He was wrong. Within hours, Edward was summoned, not to thank him, but to warn him. "You've overstepped," said a senior official behind closed doors. "This is internal royal business. It will be handled discreetly. You are not to speak of this to anyone. Is that understood?" Edward stared at the man, stunned. "Sir, he leaked state secrets. This isn't just royal business, it's a national threat." The official leaned forward, voice low and cold. "If you value your career, your pension, and your safety, drop it now." By that evening, Edward's access to palace security files was revoked. His clearance level was downgraded. He was told to take extended leave effective immediately. His colleagues avoided eye contact. The once respected commander had become a ghost in his own kingdom. At home, Edward sat in silence, watching the world outside his window move on, blissfully unaware of what was unfolding behind royal walls. His hands trembled as he opened the encrypted backup of the USB drive he had secretly made. The evidence was still there. The truth hadn't changed. But now he understood no one inside the palace was going to help. That's when he made the most dangerous decision of his life. He reached out to Clara Miles, a fearless investigative journalist known for uncovering scandals involving politicians, billionaires, and corporate empires. Clara wasn't easily intimidated. She had received death threats in the past. She had gone face-to-face with MI5 once, and she had never lost a case. When she picked up the secured call, Edward didn't speak at first. Only after verifying the encryption did he begin. "I have something that will tear the royal image apart. It involves Prince Harry, and it's all real." There was a pause. Then Clara responded, her voice calm and ready. "Meet me. No phones, no wires. Bring proof." In a quiet underground car park in central London, Edward handed her a copy of the drive. She opened it on her secured laptop, and her eyes widened as she scrolled through the folders. "Is this verified?" she whispered. Edward nodded. 100%. I saw it happen." They both knew this wasn't just a scandal. It was a time bomb. They devised a plan. Clara would schedule an exclusive interview with Prince Harry, a friendly segment about his return, his journey, his dreams. But halfway through, the script would change. Edward would appear unexpectedly via live satellite feed and reveal the evidence on air, not just to a studio, but to all of Britain, live and unedited. It was risky, dangerous even, but Edward's voice was steady. "I swore an oath to protect the crown, not to protect secrets that destroy it." Clara simply looked at him and said, "Then let's make sure the whole world hears what they tried to bury."
The day of the live broadcast arrived with a kind of eerie silence hanging over London. The show was set to air on Britain's most watched morning talk program, The People's Hour. The producers, unaware of the explosive twist being planned, had enthusiastically promoted the segment as Prince Harry's most honest interview yet. Millions tuned in, expecting charm, nostalgia, maybe even reconciliation. What they got instead was chaos. Prince Harry entered the studio, calm and composed, dressed in a crisp navy suit. He smiled at the host, shook hands, and played his part with ease, answering soft questions about his family, his time in the States, his new podcast. But just 15 minutes in, the tone shifted. The host glanced at her earpiece and hesitated. We actually have a surprise segment coming up now," she said, clearly unsettled. "A special guest joining us live via satellite with a message." The screen behind them flickered. Suddenly, Commander Edward Stone's face appeared, live, from an undisclosed location. His eyes were hard, voice steady. "Good morning, United Kingdom. My name is Commander Edward Stone. I served in Her Majesty's Royal Guard for over 20 years. Today I come before you not as a soldier, but as a citizen and a witness." The studio fell into stunned silence. Even Harry's expression darkened, his jaw tightening. Edward continued. "3 nights ago, I witnessed Prince Harry exchanging sensitive royal documents with a known foreign agent. I have secured footage, audio, and the digital contents of the handover. This includes confidential Crown correspondence, royal medical files, and a signed agreement to use that data in a dramatized media deal worth £30 million. Gasps rippled through the audience. "Right now, the palace is trying to silence this," Edward said, raising a folder of documents on camera. "But I won't let them. The monarchy cannot survive if it's built on secrets, betrayal, and silence. Prince Harry's calm facade began to crack. "This is absurd," he muttered, reaching for his microphone. "This man is lying. This is character assassination." But the host, shocked and scrambling for control, didn't cut the feed. Instead, she turned to Harry. "Prince Harry, is it true you met with an intelligence-linked journalist outside Buckingham Palace?" Harry's mouth opened, but no words came. The studio light seemed to intensify. Edward then dropped the hammer. "Play the footage." On the studio screen, grainy but unmistakable security footage rolled. Harry, in a hoodie, glancing over his shoulder, handing off a black USB to the journalist. The room fell silent. Even the camera crew looked paralyzed. Panic surged across the internet. Social media exploded. Within minutes, hashtags like Harry Leaks and Royal Betrayal were trending worldwide. News networks cut their programming to replay the footage. The royal family's PR office went into lockdown. And then, in a final blow, Edward declared, "If something happens to me, if I disappear, if I'm arrested, if I'm found dead, this full dossier goes straight to the public. I have 10 backups ready. You cannot stop the truth now." Back in the studio, Prince Harry stood up, tore off his mic, and stormed out without a word. The broadcast ended in chaos, but not before millions saw the truth unravel in real time. The monarchy had been rocked to its core. But what no one knew was, this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning.